first and foremost, welcome. It's great to have you with us, and we want to thank Portobello Catering and Loy Ernst for their generosity in having us here today. Loy's a huge supporter of prep sports in our area, and he's been a tremendous supporter of ours with our prep entities for many, many years in radio and television and through the internet. So we thank Loy for his graciousness. I'm Ken Trahan, SportsNola.com, WGSO Radio, WHNO Television, and it's great to have each and every one of you with us. As some of you know, we have ventured into prep sports in a big way in the past year and a half or so with regard to WHNO Television, which is partnered with SportsNola.com, our website, which has right at 3 million views a year and continues to grow, and our primary function and primary audience is prep. And through the latest efforts, we've been able to put games on television involving high schools. We started with football, and I'll let our sponsor talk about why and how in just a few moments. But we also expanded it this past year to include a basketball game, and albeit a terrific one at that. And baseball started last year, and baseball was a big hit. And we were extremely, extremely grateful to be able to have the opportunity to do it, first and foremost. And secondly, we love baseball. And I'm sitting here with Danny Ream, who played baseball and loves the sport. And frankly, it's my first love, too. And as a result, this was really where we started with baseball last year, and we've expanded to football and to basketball, and the plan is to do so even more. This is a venture that involves D&W Productions. It's Danny Ream and Wayne Barber who have worked hard to help make this entity succeed and augment our predominant sponsorship with some additional sponsors. And I'll let Danny say a few words first before I turn it over to Ashton. Danny?
All right. Thanks, Ken. Great to see everybody here today. We're really excited about what we're going to unveil as far as the quality of the lineup this year. You know, last year when we started it, we wanted to start somewhat small, do it right, get it off the ground, see what the interest level was. We did it. Couldn't have gone any better. We still hear from people out in the community how much they enjoy these prep broadcasts. Nobody had ever seen baseball done like that before, so that was really a neat thing to do. And this year we're really taking it to a new level by expanding from 4 games last year to 10 games this year. So more than double in size, 9 regular season games, and 1 playoff game that's to be announced. And it's going to feature some of the finest baseball programs in the area who, you know, Ken will talk more about in a few minutes when he gives you the rundown. But we are just so excited about it. We can't thank our sponsors enough. Obviously, everything that Mr. Ryan and First NBC Bank has done for us is just tremendous. I mean, without them, we wouldn't be sitting here right now. So we're just really excited and looking forward to a great prep baseball season. Hopefully we got some future state champions in here.
And the only thing I'd like to add also is how we really started this, because we had people who enjoyed and really had a passion for high school sports, mainly high school baseball. Our sponsors are the same way. Mr. Ryan, Paul Gillier, Southern Eagle, my cousin Loy Ernst, who you know, for every one of our sports banquets and our sports luncheons, he's here. This is what he does for us. Paul is an umpire at SEC. He played baseball for East Jefferson, Delgadoo U, and a few other people. But having said that, we do this basically strictly from relationships that we built up over the years, and we do appreciate each and every one of you.
Thanks, Wayne. With that in mind, we distributed the release on this, and of course this will be published today on our website at sportsnola.com. We'll also get it published through First NBC Bank's website, and we sent it out to the mainstream media as well. And anything you can do for us, if you want an email copy of this or a text copy of this, please let Lenny Van Gilder know. He's sitting right here. Raise your hand, Lenny, before you leave, and he'll send it to you. We'd appreciate it if you publish these on your websites at school. It benefits you, obviously, and I think the parents, the alumni, everybody will deeply appreciate the opportunity to see your teams play on television, which I'm quite sure hasn't happened on over-the-air television up until this point in time. So Lenny's your guy. He'll make sure he gets you that text so you can please publish these on your websites. If you have blast email capability at schools, have them do that. Should use your PA announcements to do it as well. This year we incorporate 12 schools into our 10-game schedule. As mentioned, we've expanded out, and thanks to Ashton, we can do that. But this year went from basically being in New Orleans to being able to spread out to Lafourche Parish, St. John Parish, St. Charles Parish, St. Tammany Parish, and we will continue to grow. First and foremost, First NBC Bank is pretty much everywhere now and continuing to grow. So it's of great business interest to them. But more than that, it's of interest because Ashton loves high school sports, which he'll tell you in a moment. But the school's incorporated, and I'll mention the schools and then mention the coaches that are here and any athletic directors as well. It's great to be in Lafourche Parish and have E.D. White here. And Shane Trosclair's here today. Shane, raise your hand, take a bow. And we appreciate you being – he's got company too, man. That's his assistant coach, man. And it's great to have not only E.D. White represented, but all of the Bayou area represented. Wonderful school, do a tremendous job. Anyone that's not familiar with them should be, because they do a great job educating, and they've done a great job in athletics for many years across the board, not just in baseball. John Curtis Christian from River Ridge. J.T. Curtis is here, the headmaster, principal, call him anything you want. I think he coaches a sport too. Of course, the head coach is Johnny Curtis, and Johnny does a great job. It's great to have Johnny here. And they had a special year last year, winning, 6 state championships in athletics, which is as good as it's ever been. And they're doing pretty well this year as well. Congratulations on a national championship in football. But they've had a storied baseball program as well. I believe 5 state championships. Is that right? Got it right. So it's great to have John Curtis Christian as part of this. Brother Martin, Coach Mark Wisniewski is over here. Be acknowledged. You know him, but there he is. And Mark has done a tremendous job. He's a legacy because Mark played at Brother Martin. It's his alma mater. He loves his school. He played on some terrific teams. Of course, they had, to me, their best teams in the early 80s, and they won a state championship and won a Legion championship. They had a great team in 95, 96 realm as well. He's got an awfully good team this year with some terrific players. And they got to Tulane a couple of years ago, and I know that's their goal this year, and I feel like they'd feel like if they didn't get there, they'd be very disappointed in 5A. But Mark's got a terrific team, a great program, really good people to work with. We thank Scott Williams and the entire Brain Trust of Brother Martin for their continuing support. Into St. John Parish with St. Charles Catholic, and Coach Paul Wagasback's here, sitting in the back over here, and Paul does a great job. They have that program is as consistent as can be, whatever classification they're in. They always get to, at minimal, the regional round, and oftentimes a lot further than that. And I know they're very excited about their team this year with who they have coming back. Frank Monica, the athletic director, who also coaches another sport, I think, is here today. And Frank won a state championship in football last year in 3A, the first in the school's history. Congratulations to Frank on a job well done, and it's great to have the Comets as part of our outreach as well. St. Paul's, as a tremendous institution. My nephew's a 9th grader there and having a tremendous experience as we speak. And Mick Nunez, of course, does a great job at St. Paul's. And he has a player that's already committed to Arizona who's a junior in Hanson Monica. Arizona, of course, won the national championship this past year. And they're very talented. One of the things about doing St. Paul's games that's great, because I've done some on the radio the last couple of years, they swing at the first pitch, okay? So am I right or am I wrong? They swing the bats, okay? They don't have the bats on their shoulders. They're swinging the bats, and it's fun to watch. They have a terrific team and a wonderful school, and we appreciate them, and it's great to have St. Tammany Parish incorporated, and we think it's going to grow in St. Tammany as well. Archbishop Shaw back again with us this year. Kirk Bollinger is the new head coach there. Kirk, of course, had a storied career as a player on his own right, as a terrific player at Archbishop Rummel, and then, of course, playing college baseball at Southeastern before pitching professionally at the highest level in the major leagues, and had a chance to pretty much finish up here with the Zephyrs as a AAA pitcher. And so he's in his first year at Shaw, and I know he's excited about the prospects. Anytime you have a guy like J.P. France, you got a chance just about any day. So if you could pitch him 50 times, I know he would, but he can't. So he'll just pitch him against you guys whenever he plays you. That's all. So that's great. Great to have Shaw here. And Tom Alef, the athletic director, would love to have been with us today. We thank Tom for his support and the entire administration. Belle Chase has a terrific program. They've been outstanding in baseball for many years, and as recently as just a couple of years ago, they were chalk. They were terrific. Nathan Stockman is here today. It's great to have Nathan here, and Bob Becknell is one of my dear friends, has been for a long, long time. I'm old. Bob played at Tulane, and I started in the industry when he was a player at Tulane, so that's how old I am. And I'm so old I outlasted Bob. He stepped away from coaching football, and he's just an AD now. But Belle Chase is a terrific program, and we brought Plaquemines Parish into the mix as well. And, again, it's part of the outreach that will continue to grow. Holy Cross, of course, what a renaissance they've had. It's rising from the ashes, the phoenix. It's one of the great stories in our community, and it's one of the most beautiful places you'll ever go to. And I enjoy going over there because I love the people. But in addition to that, when you walk on campus there, everybody's smiling. Can't imagine why. It's a wonderful place. And Mike Bujal is a longtime friend of mine. We've worked together for many years in many capacities. He was the athletic director there, born and raised here, went to some other school back in the day. And Greg Battistella is the outstanding head baseball coach. Previously, he was athletic director. He's done a lot of good things, but the best thing he does is reports on my prep show on Friday night. So that's it. The Batman, he's outstanding when he's not selling tickets, so he does a good job. Sometimes we'll go to him. He's like, well, let me sell this ticket. Wait a minute. Oh, wait. Okay, yeah. They just scored. Okay. It's all good. Holy Cross has an outstanding program. Again, we know enough about their school and where they've been. Of course, they're still in 4A. They'll be a 5A school next year by choice, and wherever that lands them in terms of how this LHSAA is configured, that's another story for another day. And Jesuit is represented here today by David Morrow. David was a tremendous coach in his own right at Jesuit, winning state championships. As class and act as you'll find, loves the sport, loves prep sports, period, and kids around the metropolitan area. David's one of the people that will support anybody. If Holy Cross accomplishes something, he'll be the first guy to call Greg and congratulate him. The same thing holds true with Rummel or anybody else or Brother Martin, because that's the kind of guy he is. And he's the kind of guy you entrust your kids with. And now he's, of course, serving as athletic director at Jesuit. And they won the American Legion World Series this past year. Incredible accomplishment in this day and age for a local team based at one school to win a national championship. And, of course, their prep team's pretty good, too. And they went to the semifinals a year ago. They expect to be very good as well. 3 schools that aren't represented here today: Archbishop Rummel, back with us again this year. Of course, they made it to the championship game last year in 5A. They've won 5 state championships. And I think Nick got a note from his dad last time I checked that he was sick. He couldn't be here right now. He's not sick. He's dealing with a 14-month-old and transportation issues last time we checked. But Rummel will be a good baseball team again this year, we're quite sure, in continuing their outstanding legacy that they've accomplished. And, of course, they just won a football state championship for the first time in school history. Hahnville is another great program. David Beaudry is the head coach there. They're scrimmaging right now. And Dave, of course, is in his first year as the head coach. He went over there as an assistant and has coached in football as well. And, of course, he's been an accomplished coach for many, many years, whether it was at Shaw, Rummel, or wherever he's been. And he'll do a great job at Hahnville. And they, too, made it to the quarterfinals last year to Tulane and had a tremendous season. And they've got some good players coming back, and I know he's excited about being part of this. He was thrilled. In fact, he called us months ago, and it's like, man, how do we get in? We want to do this any way, shape, or form. We'll help you with money, whatever it takes. Destrehan, of course, is coached by Marty Luquette, who I think has been there for about 90 years. And Marty's a great friend and has done a tremendous job over a long period of time. And Steve Robichaux's back there serving as one of their ADs, and he's the football coach and won a couple of state championships and is another class act and good friend. And Marty always has a good team, and you don't want to go there and play them too often because you won't leave there with wins very often in the process. So those are the schools we have involved, and I do believe, as we mentioned previously, that we're just scratching the surface. And as I mentioned earlier, this is possible because of Ashton Ryan and First NBC Bank. We have other sponsors, including Paul, who's here today, and other people that help make this possible. But we couldn't do this without First NBC Bank. They're the presenting sponsor. Over 30 branches now and growing. This is Ashton Ryan. I'll let Ashton say a few words about why First NBC Bank thinks this is a good investment. Ashton?
What? Thank you, Kenny. I'm a graduate of Jesuit. That's how this all started. And I saw the prep days that we refer to as the glory days. And I've been really disappointed. You guys toil and work hard and do a great job, and I really thank you for what you do for our community. And you don't get recognized for it. And the thing I worry about is the kids don't get recognized for it. They got to make choices. And the choices of going into competitive athletics at the high school level is a very severe choice. It's a significant choice. They have to have a lot of discipline. They have to put a huge amount of effort. They got to keep their grades up, is what I really admire. It's not kind of like in the colleges where they put them park them in some place where they can get some kind of maybe credit for a few years while they play sports, and then they wander out to do something else. And so in my different roles as a bank, I see and have access to things. One thing I see over the years is I'm the chairman of the Delgado Community College Foundation, and we meet every quarter right behind Kirsch Rooney. And so I see games being played. And I see 22 people in the stands for a really good high school baseball game. And I said, what's wrong? And why don't people care? I mean, it seems like even the parents don't care. They don't come out. And it seems to me that what we need to do is take this sports, high school sports, football, basketball, baseball, but I particularly have a love for baseball. I probably played, 3,000 or 4,000 baseball games over my life because until Katrina, I played 3 games of softball a week. So I'm a fanatic about baseball. But the reality is that we don't get any publicity. There's no recognition. Nobody knows the great job these kids are doing. They're going on to college. They're going on to the pros. It's amazing as we see every sport, New Orleans kids doing well, and yet nobody watched them when they were here. Nobody saw them. And so we had a relationship with Kenny through sponsorship of Three Amigos, working with him on his website. And I said, is there any way we can return prep sports to a level where people have recognition about it? One thing that would be great is if the Times-Picayune or the Advocate or somebody would actually put the schedules in the paper, because that's how I used to know that Jesuit was playing Rummel, or that Brother Martin was playing Holy Cross. I mean, I could tell that because I get coverage of it. Today, I don't even get coverage that it happened. I don't even get the scores in the paper, and so it just doesn't make any sense that our kids are doing the effort. Look, we know what the alternative is. We know they're challenged. We know that they live in a world that's very fast. It's full of tremendous risk to them personally in their future. And it affects our city every day when we pick up the paper and we read about what happens. And these kids are making the right choice, and you guys are helping them get there. And we want to be able to say, First MEC, can we do something to make this bigger and better? Can we get it back to where there used to be 1,000 people in a baseball game, or 8 or 9 or 10,000 people at a football game? Now, that's not that long ago. My son played for Rummel and was a linebacker. And so, we generally had 5, 6, 7,000 at East Jefferson to watch a football game. But I can remember when I was a Jesuit, we'd fill up half a city park, 10, 12, 13,000 people for important games. And it just isn't there anymore. And so I really want to see if we can, at First MEC, we're a community bank, we're focused on the community. One thing we did for years is tuition program financing, where we finance many of the kids in the community going to their high school when they went to a private school. So we want to say, how can we help? And so this is the purpose of this. We started very small about a year ago. Kenny always over-delivers. He gave me 2 games for 1 with Jesuit and Rummel. So that was good. I got to watch. I don't think he cut out. You got to work with the TV station a little because they cut out 5 or 6 innings. I guess they viewed them as dull. I kind of like to see them, to be honest with you. So I never chastised them about that, but I might as well do it now. But the reality check is that prep sports are great. It isn't that the sport has declined. It isn't that the kids aren't doing a job. They're bigger, they're better, they're stronger, they're working harder, they're committed more. What's the difference is that we just don't get the recognition, and you don't get the recognition, the kids don't get the recognition. They're doing the right behaviors, and they ought to be recognized for that. And they ought to be able, every now and then we get, a Jesuit team going to the national championship in Legion, and you do get some coverage, okay? But why is that something that only occurs because we have a national championship team? That ought to be covered on a lot of different levels. So we're really pleased to be working with this. The good thing is that technology has enabled the cost to come way down. At one time, this would have been prohibitively expensive. But technology with the internet and with the low cost, they now give you 50-inch TVs when you buy a sofa. So the cost of technology is coming way down. And because of that, we can now do something that we need to do. But I want to enkindle interest. I want people to know what's going on. I want to be in your place at the game, watching the game, not necessarily sitting in their house watching it on TV. I want the kids to get a sport. But you got to start somewhere. You got to bring them in, and the first thing is get them interested. Get the alumni. We have probably hundreds of thousands of alumni from all of these private schools that are in the New Orleans area, that if they really knew it and they had an interest, they would get out and do it. But without the knowledge of when the games are played and how they're played and everything, they can't do it. And then they're not going to be active enough right now to get on a website unless their kid's playing or their nephew's playing or something. They're not going to get on the website and look it up. It's there, I'm sure. And I'm a Jesuit alumni, and I don't check the Jesuit website to see when the ball game is. I should. My only experience was trying to get the championship game on ESPN3, and they didn't deal with Verizon, so I couldn't get it on the internet. But because that was who is my iPad carrier. So anyway, so we really want to develop a program here that would give recognition to high school sports and the key role that it plays. And the best of the best should be recognized and get the fulfillment that comes with doing something really well. Because you should, I know part of it is you do well just for yourself, but part of it is you do well but for recognition. We're all human and we want to be recognized. And I really think if we build this kind of thing, we can do a better job of keeping some of our kids out of the other end of the business side of high school, which is the bad side, which is getting involved with drugs and in illegal activities. And so, as a community bank, we do a lot of work about that. We buy gun backs, we sponsor all kind of activity to try to develop housing and to do things that help hopefully bring the economy back and offer people an alternative choice. But we see the terrible disruption that our society faces because of this issue, and we believe that you guys got a big part of the answer, and we want to make it bigger and better so that the kids know about it and they get recognized and they come into the environment that lets them grow and nurture and go to school and learn too, because I think that's important. Sports are good. I learned a lot playing sports. I learned how to work with teammates. I learned how to have the discipline to do what I got to do when I got to do it. I learned you can't put stuff off because you don't ever get it done if you do. And I think those are things that all our kids know they'll be successful in life, and more kids can be successful, more kids learn those skills. So thank you for what you do. We're glad to do this. We hope to continue to expand it. It's been a great program so far, and we want to continue. And I'm going to figure a way. I told Kenny, we're going to figure a way to get your games. If I got to buy an ad every week saying in the Sunday paper saying this is the games that are being played, I'm going to do that, because I just think that we got to start communicating to the market there. There's a market out there that would love – you're great entertainment guys. I mean, you're a fabulous entertainment. And it just, I'd love to have more people in the stands and less people sitting at home watching TV. So thank you very much.
Thanks, Thanks, Ashton. I'll have one more person, Dean Power, say a word or two quickly. But the one model we have here that we think works, first and foremost, we don't want to hurt live gates by any stretch of the imagination. So that's why we do these games on a tape-delayed basis, which is a win-win. Number one, doesn't hurt your gate. Number two, it gives everybody a chance to go see the game, parents, alumni, the kids themselves, a day or two or three later. But in addition to that, we do televise them live on our website at sportsnola.com, which is a great tool for alumni, whether they're in Timbuktu or in Maryland or in Oregon or wherever we wouldn't believe it. Last year I had to miss that marathon game that Ashton talked about because I was busy doing the play-by-play for the arena football team for radio and television in San Antonio. I mean, I finished that game. I got back to my hotel room at about 11:15. I put my website on the internet and I watched another hour's worth of baseball. It was amazing. I'm sitting there cracking up, and then I'm looking at the number of people watching it at one time. I'm like, this is astonishing. I mean, the numbers were ridiculous, and it's people watching from all over the country. So we think that's a great model to where you can watch it live on the internet and to where we do not hurt your live gate by televising it live, so it gives everybody a chance to see it. Last but not least, the reason we can get these games on television is a joint effort from Ashton to the guys over here with Danny and Wayne and our guys at sportsnola.com and with WHNO Television, which has taken up the mantle of carrying local sports to a large degree, not just high school games, but college games, shows that are devoted to sports that we've originated locally, and many of our high school coaches and athletes have been on this past year, both on my show and on our Recruiting Insider show with Renee Nato and Ken Berthelot. So with that in mind, I want to introduce Dean Power to say a word or two, who's the general manager of WHNO Television. Dean?
Thank you, Kenny. I appreciate that. Hey, guys, one thing that I want to assure you is over the years, as we move down through the calendar, you're going to see the WHNO TV 20 as well as sportsnola.com. We will continue our support of high school athletics. I don't know if you noticed over the last 3 years, we've gone from no games to 4 games. Last year we did 18 games through the support of Ashton Ryan and FNBC Bank. This next year we will have over 30 local games combined with prep and college. I tell you, that's a big commitment. But by doing that, it does exactly what Ashton was saying. It's about the kids. Who wants to be the best kept secret? Ask your kids that. I promise you, none of them will raise their hands. But right now, we are going to make a commitment to you for the next several years to make sure that we continue to highlight these kids. We give them an opportunity to be featured. We give them an opportunity to be interviewed on our sports shows. I believe over the last 26 weeks, we have done over 70 local sports programs here around restaurants in the greater New Orleans areas where we interviewed Saints athletes. And guess what? With Prep Recruiting Insider as well as Sports NOLA TV, we've actually had many of your kids on there for football, for baseball, for basketball, and we'll continue to do that. So I'd like to thank you guys. Thank your kids for us. Tell them we love them. We appreciate what they do. We appreciate what you do in Ashton. We certainly appreciate what you're doing as well. And I got to tell you, I was trying to figure out if I can get as much words as Kenny's gotten in the last hour and a half. Oh, I'm sorry, it was only 45 minutes. It seems like an hour and a half sometimes. But anyhow, I think I'm out of words. So just thank you guys. Keep up the great work, and we really do appreciate you and what you do for us.